I'm assuming that most ministers or teachers spend a great deal of time reading books that coincide with their theological or philosophical viewpoints. And they find something that they find interesting or useful, and they summarize it in their own words, and that's their message. And quite honestly, I've done that a few times. But truly, for me, that's quite boring. I generally try to develop a talk first by being aware of what's going on in our world, in our lives. And Wayne Dyer says there's a spiritual solution for every problem. We don't have to look far to see problems or chaos or challenge. And I heard some information the other day, that some statistics that were quite troubling to me. And here again, we don't have to look far to see things that trouble us. But this really caught my attention. It's something I've been aware of, but not in this particular magnitude. And I'm going to share that with you, but that's not the main point of my talk today. I learned that so far this year, up until one day in September, in this country, an average of 192 people take their own lives every single day. That's more than get killed on the highways. 192. In 2016, 64,000 Americans died from drug overdose. And the surprising part of those statistics, I couldn't believe, only a third of those were from recreational or illegal drugs. 40,000 died from prescription drugs being prescribed by a doctor. So I looked at this. I think there's a reason for this, and I think that reason, I'll just sum it up and generalize it by saying it's mental illness. And you may say, well, that doesn't. There's not a person in this room that hasn't experienced times of mental illness in their life. Not one of us that hasn't experienced, sometimes more often than others. Sometimes it can be almost a constant state. Another one of those statistics was that this country per capita has more people taking cyclotronic drugs, more people in therapy, mental therapy, than any nation in the world in the history of humanity. Why is that? I think it's a disease, but I think more than a disease, I think it is a symptom. And I think it's a symptom of being disconnected from each other and being disconnected from our soul, from our source, our divine. So upon hearing this, what's the spiritual solution, Wayne Dyer? Universe, spirit? How do I deal with this? How do I talk to this congregation about this disconnect? What am I to say? That was my question to the universe, the spirit. I put it out there. My question was answered way quicker than I thought it would be. Now this is a story, takes place over quite a long period of time, but this is all part of the answer that I want to share with you today. Some of you may remember a few years back, we started a little thing over in the hall called Live at the Oaks. Maury and Sherry were part of that, and we had Michael and Sherry Mignano. And it was a great idea, but for one reason or another, time wasn't right, energy wasn't right, the wherewithal, it just kind of never went anywhere. Then this past December 7th, the Cotati Chamber of Commerce had a downtown shopping extravaganza to kick off the Christmas season. And I took my stage downtown and set it up in front of Friar Tuck's, and we had 5 bands on the stage that day. And during that time, and I was a little busy that day, I set up the stage, ran all the sound equipment, my band played for an hour, and then I'd tear down the stage. But I met this young fellow, and he had sponsored one of the bands that was there. His name is Elijah Barneson. And we exchanged niceties, how music people do, did a little howdy and shake, and then he told me a little bit about his vision and why he was in the music thing. And I don't recall verbatim what he said, but it had to do with having a nonprofit and trying to make music available to people in our community because of its healing properties. And I said, way cool. I said, we should talk. I'm busy right now. So I gave him my card. He gave me his card. I don't know what I did with his card. He doesn't know what he did with my card, I'm sure. But time passed. I kept wanting to hook up with this guy. And a couple of months ago, I was having breakfast over at Redwood Cafe. I was talking to Michael, and he said, there's this guy named Elijah. He's doing some really great things. I said, that's the guy I want to hook up with. So he said, well, if I see him, I'll let him know. Well, nothing happened. And then last Friday, a week ago Friday, John Allred called me. He said, there's a guy I want you to meet. His name's Elijah. He's looking for a venue, and he said, I think you two guys ought to get together. I said, that's the guy I've been looking for. So Monday, I met with him here. And Elijah has a nonprofit called Live Music Lantern. And I invite every one of you to write that down on your order of service, livemusiclantern.org. And we talked, and we discussed, and we shared visions, and we shared hopes and values, and come to find out, wow, it's really similar. We're on the same page. In fact, we're in the same paragraph, maybe even the same sentence. So Friday, I got a proposal. There's a piece of paper right here. And I'm going to read just a little bit of it. It's called A Proposal for Community Cabaret at the Oaks. Mission: to provide low, no-cost, family-friendly music that enriches, inspires, and heals the community. Live Music Lantern, a 501c3 nonprofit, would like to organize, fund, and promote an ongoing music events in our community. We'd love to start providing 2 types of programming at Church of the Oaks. Number 1, family concerts. We would provide sliding scale, no one turned away due to lack of funds programming for various ages groups, demographics, primarily families. We will host local and regional acts from a wide variety of genres, including on world, blues, and folk acts. We would like this to be a collaborative, ongoing effort so that it works for both parties. That's in the hall. To encourage dancing, we would like to hold these in the social hall. Okay. Secondly, we would like to provide a more intimate concerts in the church itself, with an emphasis on singer-songwriters and music that is primarily acoustic. This would be open to all ages as well. I'm not here so much to sell you on this idea. That's kind of a board decision. I'm here because Spirit gave me an answer. One of the things that we might do, one of the practices, one of the principles that we might participate in is reconnecting. Reconnecting with each other, reconnecting with our own spirit, with our own divine. Did you ever notice when you go to a music concert, a live music concert, how you get in the groove? You know, the music, if you look at all the quotes on the bottom of the order of the surf, it all talks about music being the language of the heart, of the soul. Music starts where words stop. And when you get in this concert mode, when you're listening to music and you're seeing people perform it, you get in the groove and you look around and other people are too. And you are connected. You are connected to them in an energy of joy and movement and freedom. And all the conflicts and all the stuff we carry around in the pack on the back, it kind of goes away for a little while. And you're connected with the band. So you can feel the energy and the love they're putting in their music. This is something, I don't know how many of you would be interested in, but this is something that each one of us could participate in one way or another, that costs little enough money. Not very much time, not much preparation, but an opportunity for each of us to not only go for self-healing, but to provide this space and go and support and share our energy with people who could certainly use it. What do you think? Does that ring true? Is that maybe a possibility that each one of us reconnecting, that could help us with our own mental illnesses, that could connecting with people who are suffering from mental illness, and we all do, and we all know people? And it's something we don't talk about. We keep it quiet. Oddly enough, this wonderful organization called Live Music Lantern was founded because of someone's severe case of mental illness. And it was the culmination, the celebration of the healing process. And the young man that had the tenacity and the love and the caring for his community, he's sitting right back there. Stand up, Elijah. Stand up so people can see. Now we're going to, he's got a ton to say. He's got, I mean, he just, his energy and enthusiasm and love and creativity is just, it oozes out of him. And if you have a few minutes, if you'd like to join us over at Potluck, I'm sure you've got some little brochures there in your hand, I saw, and you could talk to people. But this is just one more little idea that this minister is sharing with his congregation of ways that we can enrich our lives, enrich the lives of other people. Just an idea. I don't have answers. There's no rules. But we come here Sunday after Sunday with the intention of enriching our lives, of elevating the consciousness of our planet. And this is just another idea of a way that we can maybe do that. Have any of you heard of the Fez Music Festival in Morocco? It's the biggest, most attended music festival in the world. This last year was its 23rd year. Next June will be the 24th year. It lasts for 8 days. I've always wanted to attend, but it's really hot. But the festival is made up of, it's a spiritual music festival. And it is made up of singers and musicians from all around the world, performing music from every theology, from every spiritual philosophy, in every language and dialect you can imagine. I've watched hours of this festival on YouTube. It's just like listening to one of Puccini's operas. Don't understand a single word they're saying. But the harmony of the music and the harmonies of the voices go past the lyrics, which is what our brains are conditioned to. And it takes us to a place beyond where our brains can be aware. And some of this music is very unfamiliar to me. And it's like not what I would have ever considered to be music. But if you listen to it, if you listen to this unfamiliar melody, this unfamiliar arrangement of notes, unfamiliar voice harmonies, and you will listen to it, and you get in the boat, and you allow that boat to take you someplace, the unfamiliar reception takes you to unfamiliar places that are within the infinity of the divine. Very, very interesting. And I'm not even there when I watch this, but I've yet to watch this and not have some sort of an epiphany-like experience. And now, I hope we're going to have an opportunity to have those types of healing and awareness experiences right here. There are opportunities in every one of our lives every single day. We just have to be aware that they are there. And then just like the weather, we have to choose to change what we were going to do today and maybe do something that will take us to an unfamiliar place, that will allow a little connecting to our fellow man, connecting to our soul, to our divine. Awareness and understanding. Same old thing, just maybe a different verse. Elijah, thank you very much for being here, being Spirit's answer to me. Let's stand up and sing, Imagine.